Most men use words to impress. The smartest ones use them to test. But only a few know how to speak in a way that disarms female psychology completely, without even raising their voice. I'm not talking about pickup lines. I'm talking about phrases so subtly powerful they bypass her logic and go straight to her emotional core. Phrases that don't just attract her, they destabilize her. They confuse her control, shift the power dynamic, and make her start proving herself to you. But here's the danger. If you don't understand why these phrases work, or how to use them with emotional control, you'll end up seducing the wrong woman and losing yourself in the process. I'm going to walk you through 6 phrases that most men can't even say with a straight face. But once you do, she'll feel something she can't explain. And that's when she becomes yours to lose. Before I walk you through the 6 phrases that flip the female script, do me a small favor. Hit that subscribe button, tap like, and let me know what city you're watching from. I read every comment, and it shows me just how many men out there are waking up to the truth. Because once you understand the psychological effect of these phrases, you won't just know how to attract a woman. You'll know how to hold the frame when she tests your soul. Now let's get into it and uncover the words that make her chase without understanding why. Phrase number 1. You have a unique way about you. I like that. Let's start with phrase number 1, because it's the softest and also the most dangerous if you don't understand the psychology behind it. You have a unique way about you. I like that. Sounds harmless, even sweet, right? But what you're really doing here is planting a seed. This phrase works not because it flatters her, but because it confuses her ego. It implies she's different, but doesn't tell her how. It praises something she can't identify, and that's where the power lies. Because now she has to wonder, what does he mean? What part of me did he notice that I didn't even notice myself? Was it my tone? The way I look at him? The way I talk? And here's what's brilliant. Once a woman starts seeking the answer to your statement, she's already shifted into your frame. She's no longer evaluating you. She's trying to decode herself through your perception. And that's a psychological pivot most men never create. See, most guys make the fatal mistake of over-explaining. They say, "You're beautiful," or "I love your smile," or "You're so smart." Those compliments feel good, but they're obvious, expected. They validate her, but they don't hook her. But when you say, "You have a unique way about you," and you leave it there, calm, slow, grounded, it does 2 things. First, it triggers her curiosity. Second, it raises your perceived emotional intelligence. Because the only type of man who notices things beyond the obvious is the kind of man who doesn't just look, he sees. And for a woman, feeling seen on a non-physical level is addictive. Because it touches a deeper desire than validation, the desire to be understood. Now here's the twist. This phrase also acts as a test. Because when you drop it early in an interaction, her reaction tells you everything. Does she smile and lean in? You've just tapped into her need for significance. Does she get awkward or try to downplay it? She's not used to real observation. She's used to surface-level attention. Does she flip the frame and ask, "What do you mean?" That's where you get to decide whether to feed the tension or hold it. Because that's where men either rise or fall. A weak man will scramble to answer, "Oh, I meant the way you talk." It's really confident. But a man who understands frame will just smile, hold eye contact, maybe sip his drink, and say, "I'll tell you later, maybe." That's when she gets hooked. Not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't say. You see, mystery is a feminine drug, and most men overdose the interaction with logic, hoping to impress. But women don't chase answers. They chase emotional tension. And this phrase, simple, clean, and unexplained, creates a loop that only you can close. That puts you in control of the tempo, the narrative, and the emotional pacing of the interaction. But here's your warning. If you use this phrase without calm energy, without subtle confidence, it backfires. It'll sound like flattery. It'll sound like you're trying to get a reaction instead of observing one. So here's how you say it. Low tone, slight smile. Hold her gaze for half a second longer than usual. Then move the conversation forward. No follow-up, no neediness. Let her sit in the echo of it. Because silence after impact is what makes it linger. And that's the point. You're not trying to impress her. You're training her mind to wonder about you. That's where the real game begins. Phrase number 2. I like women who know what they want. This phrase sounds like a compliment, but when said correctly, it's not. It's a challenge. I like women who know what they want. Notice what you're not doing. You're not asking her what she wants. You're not trying to fit into her ideal. You're declaring your preference and making her wonder if she qualifies. This is psychological judo, because what you've just done is flip the script that most women are used to. Men chasing, qualifying, and adapting. But this time, she's the one being observed. She's the one who has to demonstrate alignment. Now let's break this down. When you say, I like women who know what they want, what you're doing is triggering a specific kind of internal tension. For a high-value woman, that phrase affirms her confidence. She thinks, damn right, I do. But for a woman who's used to hiding behind games, flakiness, or emotional inconsistency, that line makes her nervous. It exposes something, her lack of clarity. Because if you like women who know what they want, and she doesn't, emotionally, sexually, or relationally, then in her mind, she just dropped in value. And that's exactly what it's meant to do. Now, here's where most men misuse this phrase. They say it too early, too soft, or too needy. They say it like they're trying to impress strong women. But you're not trying to impress. You're laying a filter. You're telling her, I'm not here to guess, chase, or decode your mixed signals. If you don't know what you want, you're not for me. And let me be clear. This doesn't mean she has to declare marriage on the first date. What it does mean is emotional maturity. This phrase draws a line between women who are used to being chosen and women who choose with intention. It attracts the ones who lead with clarity and exposes the ones who play in ambiguity. Now, here's how you apply it. She asks, what do you look for in a woman? Don't give the boring beta list, kind, funny, smart. Look her in the eye, low tone, and say, I like women who know what they want. Then pause. Let her sit with it. Watch her body language. If she shifts, laughs nervously, or gets defensive, you've just poked a wound. If she smiles and holds your gaze, you've just turned her on. Because deep down, women want to be seen as decisive, powerful, feminine in a directed way. This phrase doesn't just spark attraction, it sparks aspiration. She'll want to prove that she's that kind of woman. She'll rethink her words before speaking. She'll become more intentional around you because you require it. And that's where the frame flips. Most men orbit women, hoping to be chosen. You speak like a man who selects, who filters, who walks away if the vibe isn't aligned. This isn't arrogance, it's standard. And standards are sexy when delivered without apology. So here's your caution. Don't use this phrase to manipulate. Use it to clarify. Because when you say it, you're also committing to a higher standard for yourself. You can't say, I like women who know what they want, then waste time with women who don't. You'll collapse your own authority. So mean it, back it, and walk if it's not matched. Because the moment she realizes you're not here to guess her mind or fix her indecision, is the moment she either rises to meet you or walks away for good. Either way, you win. Phrase number 3. That's what I like most about you. At first glance, this sounds like a compliment. And it is, but not the kind she's used to. That's what I like most about you. Simple, direct. But when used right, it becomes a surgical tool because it tells her exactly what you see in her and exactly where she's most emotionally exposed. Let me explain. Most women get compliments on autopilot. You're hot, you're cute, you're funny. None of those make impact because they're all based on external validation. Surface noise. But when you drop this phrase in the middle of a meaningful moment, after she says something vulnerable, passionate, or unexpectedly real, you hit something deeper. That's what I like most about you. Notice what happens. She stops. She rewinds what she just said. And she asks herself, wait, what part of me did he just fall for? That self-reflection is powerful. Because now she's linking her identity, her worth, to the specific trait you just affirmed. You're not giving a general compliment. You're anchoring attraction to a part of her she's not used to being seen for. And that's what makes it addictive. Here's a real-world example. She's talking about how she dropped everything to start her own business. She's not bragging, she's just passionate. You listen, you don't interrupt, you let her finish. Then you lean in and say, that's what I like most about you. Don't elaborate, don't explain, just hold it. Let the moment breathe. And in her head, that phrase is now attached to something real, something core, not her looks, not her social charm, but her essence. That's emotional branding, and once it's planted, it's hard to uproot. But here's the twist. This phrase is also a test of depth, because if she's only playing surface games, if everything she shares is filtered, performative, or shallow, you'll find it hard to say this phrase authentically. And that's exactly the point. This phrase exposes not just her substance, but yours. You can't fake resonance. You can't force connection. So when you use this line, it should come from observation, not strategy. Because here's the danger. If you use this phrase too often, or attach it to something trivial, like your smile or your vibe, it loses all power. Worse, it makes you sound like you're trying to seduce her with compliments instead of recognizing her with presence. Presence is the real seduction. So how do you use this phrase with power? 3 things. Timing. Don't rush it. Wait for a moment when she's not performing, when she forgets to impress. That's when the real her shows up. Delivery. Say it low, measured, as if you just discovered something rare and you want her to know you saw it. Silence after impact. After you say it, shut up. Let her sit in it. The silence is what makes the moment echo. And here's the effect. She'll feel disarmed. Not because you flattered her, but because you saw something she didn't know was visible. And now, she wants more of that feeling. She wants to be seen like that again. By you. And that's when emotional investment begins. Because once a woman feels seen in the way she's never been seen before, she'll do more to keep your attention than you ever did to earn hers. But only if you use this phrase with discipline. Only if you see what most men miss. Only if your presence is sharper than your words. Phrase number 4. I don't think you're ready for me yet. This one hits different because it's not just a line, it's a psychological grenade. I don't think you're ready for me yet. When delivered correctly, this phrase doesn't just create attraction, it creates obsession. Why? Because it activates 2 of the most powerful emotional triggers in the female psyche: scarcity and the fear of inadequacy. You're not chasing, you're not explaining, you're implying that you are the prize, and she might not be qualified yet, and that flips everything. Let's break it down. When you say, I don't think you're ready for me yet, you're not insulting her. You're not degrading her. You're creating a gap, a space between who she is and who she'd need to be to have access to you. That space creates tension. That tension creates curiosity, and that curiosity pulls her in. Because now she's asking, why wouldn't I be ready? What does he see in me that's not enough? What is he not telling me? And boom, she's in your frame. Her mind is no longer analyzing you. It's analyzing herself through your perception. That's the power of reframing. Now here's what separates boys from men: tone and timing. You don't say this phrase with aggression. You say it with a slight smile, a calm tone, like you're teasing, but not joking. Example: she's showing off, maybe bragging a little, flexing her independence or throwing a test your way. You hold your ground, smile, and say, "That's cute, but I don't think you're ready for me yet." Then silence, let it land, and in that pause, everything shifts. Because here's what just happened. You rejected her, without actually rejecting her. You created a challenge, without begging for validation. You flipped the approval dynamic, without losing emotional control. Now she's the one with something to prove. She's wondering what level you're on, and what it takes to be part of it. And here's where it gets interesting. Most women are used to being the prize. They're used to men competing, qualifying, chasing. But this phrase tells her, access to me isn't guaranteed. It's earned, not through performance, but alignment. And that rewires the game. But let me be clear, this phrase is not for the insecure. If you say it out of ego, out of fear, or as a mask for your own unworthiness, she'll feel it, and she'll destroy your frame in seconds. Because women don't just listen to what you say, they feel why you say it. So here's the key. You say it from grounded abundance, from a place of, I know who I am, and not everyone gets access. Not in arrogance, in sovereignty. And if she pushes back, perfect. Let her test you. Let her try to decode what ready even means. Because every time she chases the definition, she chases you, and that's where the control flips. Not because you tried to impress her, but because you positioned yourself as the standard she wasn't prepared for. So say this phrase with precision. Say it with calm. Say it when you know she's leaning in, but still trying to keep the upper hand. Because the moment you imply she's not quite enough is the moment she starts working to become more, and that's how you shift from being her option to being her obsession. Phrase number 5. I don't know if you can handle me. Now this one sounds playful. It makes her smile, maybe even laugh. But underneath the surface, it's a calculated strike, right at her pride. I don't know if you can handle me. Delivered with the right tone, it sounds like teasing, but emotionally, it's a challenge. Because this isn't about her being good enough. It's about her being able to manage you. And that flips a primal switch inside her. Let me explain. Most women are used to being the ones tested by society, by other women, by men. But they're not used to being tested for emotional endurance. When you say, I don't know if you can handle me, you're making a bold statement. I am not easy to contain. You're communicating that you're dynamic, unpredictable, that being with you isn't a checklist, it's an emotional ride. And she has to ask herself, am I built for that? But here's what's brilliant. This phrase does two things at once. It frames you as high value because you're not trying to be chosen. You're evaluating her ability to handle your world. It triggers curiosity and competitiveness because now she wants to prove she's not like other women. She wants to be the one who can handle you. And that's when she starts performing for your approval without even realizing it. Let's talk delivery. This phrase works best in response to something playful. Maybe she teases you. Maybe she shows off a little sass. Instead of pushing back seriously, you smirk. Relax your posture. Then say, I don't know if you can handle me. Not as a threat, not as a flex, as a challenge wrapped in charm. Because the moment she feels like she might not be able to manage you, she wants to try. And that's where the tension builds. Because now she's wondering, what makes him think I can't handle him? What would handling him even require? Is he wild, deep, dangerous? And she starts imagining. And in that imagination, she starts attaching. But here's the deeper psychology. This phrase subtly introduces the idea that being with you takes work. It takes composure. It takes emotional maturity. It's not a reward. It's a responsibility. You're not saying, pick me. You're saying, I'm not for everyone, and I'm not sure I'm for you. That is rare. and rare equals irresistible. Now let's flip the lens. If she gets offended or defensive, pay attention. Because this phrase is a filter, not just a flirt. If she fires back with insecurity, sarcasm, or control attempts, she's showing you her threshold. But if she smirks, leans in, plays with it, she's accepted the challenge. And that's where game begins. But here's your warning. Do not use this phrase if you're emotionally chaotic, unstable, or trying to fake depth. Because if you say, "I don't know if you can handle me," and she finds out you're actually easy, passive, or weak, you've destroyed your credibility. So if you say it, you'd better mean it. Be the man who actually requires presence, patience, depth. Be the man who isn't easily handled, because you've done the inner work most avoid. And when she realizes that, she won't try to handle you. She'll want to earn her way in, because she won't see you as just another man to figure out, but as an experience to survive. Phrase number 6, I'm not that easy. This is the final phrase, and it's the one most men are too scared to say, because it demands one thing they haven't mastered yet: emotional discipline. I'm not that easy. 6 simple words, but when said with calm confidence, they shift the entire dynamic. Because this phrase does what most men fear to do. It makes you the gatekeeper. Let's be honest, society teaches men to be grateful for attention, to say yes to any woman who shows interest, to prove they're good enough for her affection. But when you say, "I'm not that easy," you're saying the opposite. You're saying, access to me is earned. It's not automatic, and you'll have to do more than just show up pretty. That's power. Now here's why this phrase works so well, psychologically. Most women are used to being the ones who decide if a man is worth it. But when you say this line, you flip the entire selection process. You're no longer auditioning. You're evaluating, and that creates a scarcity effect, because now your attention has conditions. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because you value yourself too much to be easily accessed. Let's paint the scene. She's teasing you, maybe flirting, maybe testing you. Most guys would lean in, try harder, compliment her. But you smile, hold eye contact, and say, "I'm not that easy." No sarcasm, no arrogance, just calm certainty. Then pause. Let her feel it. In that moment, you've done 3 things. You've created a wall, not to block her, but to make her climb. You've positioned yourself as a challenge, and challenges activate a woman's competitive instinct. You've forced her to consider her own effort, because now she's not sure if she's getting you, and that ambiguity drives curiosity. Here's the deeper psychology. When a man says, "I'm not that easy," he breaks the validation loop. He becomes unavailable by choice. That creates mystery. Mystery builds tension. And tension, sustained over time, becomes attraction. But here's the nuance. This phrase only works when it reflects truth. If you say, "I'm not that easy," but your actions say otherwise, you lose all credibility. You become the guy who talks high value, but lives low standard. So when you say it, you better embody it. You better be the kind of man who walks away from drama, who doesn't chase flaky energy, who says no to beauty if it comes wrapped in emotional immaturity. Because only then does this phrase cut deep. And if she asks, "What do I need to do?" don't list qualifications. Don't explain yourself. Just smile, look her dead in the eye, and say, "Maybe I'll tell you someday." Then change the subject. Shift the energy. Why? Because control isn't in what you give. It's in what you withhold. You're not being a jerk. You're being selective. You're not punishing her. You're positioning yourself. And when you do that, when you create emotional hurdles instead of lowering yourself to impress, she starts investing. She starts working. She starts wondering. Because for the first time in a long time, she's the one trying to earn access. And that's the moment she stops playing games. Because she realizes you were never playing at all. Now that you've heard all 6 phrases, here's the truth you probably already feel. This was never just about what to say, it was about how to lead. Every phrase was a doorway, not to her emotions, but to your own dominance. Because when you say, "You have a unique way about you," "I like women who know what they want. That's what I like most about you." "I don't think you're ready for me yet." "I don't know if you can handle me." "I'm not that easy." You're not just triggering her, you're testing yourself. Can you say these words and stay grounded when she laughs nervously? Can you hold frame when she flips the script and tries to take control? Can you stay calm when she starts investing more, then pulls back to see if you'll chase? Because women don't fall for words. They fall for the men who can handle what those words create. That's the difference between tactics and transformation. And that's where most men fail. They memorize lines, they practice tone, they learn game. But when the moment comes, when she leans in, gets vulnerable, or throws a test, they crumble. They fall back into people-pleasing, into over-explaining, into needing approval. So here's your final truth. Powerful words mean nothing without a powerful identity behind them. And if that's what you want to build, not just attraction, but authority, then subscribe. Stay with this channel, because this is not where you get pickup lines. This is where you get trained to think sharper, to speak slower, to choose better. Because a woman's attention is not your goal. Your standard is. And when your standard is high, everything else gets filtered automatically. So remember this, any man can say the right thing, but the man who becomes the frame, he never has to say it twice.